Well, thanks a lot for joining us today. My name is Chelsea Crawford. I'm a solution engineer with SAP. So that means it's my job to travel around and talk to our customers about our solutions and show them what value could bring to their organizations. And today my job is to introduce you all to SAP and specifically tell you a little bit about what we've been up to over the past few years and then show you our data visualization tool that we're giving you all access to called SAP Lumira. And then from there, I'll hand it off to my colleague Mike here in the front row, and Mike's going to walk through what development options you have with SAP Lumira as well as our in-memory platform. And he's going to show you some really cool things that you'll be able to do with the data sets that we all got access to today. So for those that don't know, SAP has been around for 43 years. We're a German software technology company. And over the past few years, our sole focus has been on our in-memory technology. And this has really driven a new strategy for SAP internally and also one that we're pushing towards our customers. And that's really to run simple. So for today, what that really means is how can we simplify the process of accessing all of this wonderful data that we now have available to us? How can we simplify the process of consuming that information in a valuable way? How can we simplify the mashing and merging and the enriching of that data? So I'd love to walk through the SAP strategy and explain a little bit about where our data visualization tool fits into that strategy. So at the core of everything that we're doing at SAP is this in-memory technology called HANA. And HANA, with applications and analytics on top of it, really drives this simplistic vision. With our applications and also our analytic solutions, along with our user experience, we've simplified the way that we're addressing the marketplace and all the industries that we address, along with our ecosystem of partners as well. What this really looks like for you all today is a simplified way to approach data visualization. In a moment, we're going to walk through SAP Lumira, and we'll show you the power of Lumira when running on this in-memory technology. With SAP is in-memory technology at the foundation, you're going to be able to access an unlimited amount of data and access that data in real time, merge it together. It really opens up the door to a whole nother level of innovation possibilities. So when it comes to SAP Lumira and with any data visualization tool, the first step is going to be to acquire that data. So we all got access to a bunch of really neat data sets today. When you pull that data into Lumira, you can use a variety of different sources, if you will. So we can pull in the standard Excel, CSV files, data sets. You can also connect to universes or run some free-form SQL as well. Once the data is in Lumira, you have the ability to enrich that data. So merging different data sets together, adding data sets and toggling between them as you're building out visualizations. You can create calculations on your dimensions and measures and also build some hierarchies to really enhance the dimensional options that you have. So you can make geospatial hierarchies and time hierarchies as well. When it comes to building your visualizations in Lumira, you're going to have a lot of different options. So it comes with a gallery of visualizations from your traditional pie chart, bar chart, things like that, all the way to more advanced options like radar charts, different word clouds, heat maps, tree maps, things like that. You also have the ability to build some custom visualizations as well. So if what comes out of the box with Lumira isn't enough and you'd like to build something from scratch, then you can definitely do that. And Mike's going to talk specifically about how you can build your own visualizations later on. And then from there, when it comes to exploring your data in Lumira and making it intuitive and compelling for your users and for our audiences for the competition, you can create what are called storyboards. Storyboard is essentially an interactive report that's going to bring all of your visualizations together and give you the ability to tell a compelling story with those visualizations. You can also build infographics and also reports with SAP Lumira. And then you can share those out across your teams. So I was showing for our own internal team, we're going to be using Lumira and Lumira Cloud, and we'll be able to collaborate on top of our visualizations and our data sets that we're working with. Any questions so far before we get into the tool? Okay. Yeah. Sorry?
What type of data analytics you have? Like what?
Yeah, anything from CSV to whole data.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, you can do structured, unstructured data. Anything can be pulled in. So once you open up Lumira and you pull, oh geez, one second. That's the Grand Canyon, but not. There we go. Once you have your data inside Lumira, this is what you're going to see. So we're going to walk through the different rooms of Lumira, starting with the prepare room. On the left-hand side, this is where we have our measures and dimensions. And you'll notice here we also have our hierarchies. So we were able to pull in some geospatial data and build out additional dimensions based on that information, as well as time information, so we can build some time hierarchies as well. When it comes to enriching the data, you can build your calculations on your dimensions and measures, and you can also merge data sets together. So for this example today, I took some data from the Boston site, some dispatch information, and merged it with some geospatial information as well. And you can do that with any of the data sets that we all have access to now for the HubHack Challenge. You can also do some data manipulation at the column level all the way down to the data element. So when you select your column, on the right-hand side we have all these options available to us. So you can do some grouping, you can merge different columns together, some find and replace, some standard data quality things that you would like to do. And you're also able to add data sets. So I'm going to add a data set here. I have some population information that I want to do some visualizations on. So when I select my source, it's going to create this new data set in the same document. So now I'll be able to toggle between that dispatch data and also this population data as well. And once you're ready to visualize your data and your information, we can head over into the visualize room here. So I'll make a new visualization. On the left-hand side, again, we still have our measures and dimensions, and we're going to be creating some graphs and visualizations in this central workspace area. And the way you're going to do that is simply by dragging and dropping these measures and dimensions into the placeholders that you see here. And we've got this gallery of visualization options that you can use. So what's great about Lumira and what you can use this for as we're exploring these data sets is for some real data discovery. So when you pull in your data set, Lumira is actually going to read it, and it's going to push you some recommendations to say, this could be an interesting way to look at this data, this could be a cool place to start. So as we're all getting familiar with the data sets that are now available to us, we can pull them into Lumira and get a starting point without having to do any work at all. So if we wanted to build out a really simple visualization from scratch, we could pull in our information on the total amount of dispatch calls and the incident type descriptions. And I'll switch this here, and we can see, there's a lot of information. So if we wanted to, let's say, sort this in ascending order, and then to simplify it a little bit more, we can also rank these values as well. So if we wanted to say, what are the top 10 incidences that dispatch calls are being based on, we can do that really quickly here. Then if we wanted to add in additional information, we can say, out of all of these incidences, what did the Boston Fire Department respond to? So you can see how quickly I'm able to manipulate the visualization, move it back and forth between different chart types and different things like that. If we wanted to switch out the fire department and pull in the police department, for example, we can do that and then change our visualization here into something like a donut chart if we wanted to. Now you'll notice I added that rank at the top here, so all your filters are going to be able to kind of create a cookie-cum trail, if you will, so you always know where you came from, and we can get rid of the filters if we want to. In addition, you're able to use some custom visualizations as well. So I mentioned the extensions that you're able to do. Mike's going to talk specifically about that in a moment. But if we wanted to look at our same information, and let's say in a line chart with some zooming capabilities, we can do that here. And we have a dimension here on the weapon type that was used with these different situations. And if we pull that in, this is going to give us a really interactive visualization. We can actually select which aspect of the chart we want to zoom in on and start interacting with that data. Now we also have some geospatial information. So we pulled in that geospatial data set that I merged together, and we created that geospatial hierarchy. So with Lumira, you have some out-of-the-box mapping tools, and you can also use Esri. So once our Esri map is loaded, we can start creating some different layers of data on this map. So if I pull in our street name dimension, and we can pull in the total amount of incidents that have happened, now we can see a color-coded view on a map of what these situations were. We can zoom in and toggle over and get the line item detail for each of these incidences at the same time. And then let's say I wanted to add a layer. I can change the way we're looking at this and look at more of a bubble view if we'd like. I'll pull in our EMS data. And let's say we wanted to look at the year specifically. That's going to be our color code. Now we can start to really build out and zoom in and see some more detailed information on the map. We can filter on a specific area or a specific set of values here. Just some other visualization options that are available. You can use things like tag clouds, and these are really great when you're building out your storyboards and your reports, because it gives your consumers the clear view of your information. So this is just another way of looking at the total number of incidences that have happened that the EMS has responded to. So if you remember, I added in that population data set here. So if we pull in our population information, we can look at what's called a population pyramid chart. And if I add in our different dimensions, this is going to give us a neat view of the population over time. And this is another interactive visualization, so it's going to give me the ability to toggle between the years and take a look at the gender disparities across the time. Now, once you have your visualizations created, you can go into the compose space. I pre-built an infographic and a storyboard just to show you what it looks like, and this is the infographic option. So I created this using a template that Lumira comes with, and in order to create this, all you have to do is drag your visualizations into the space and then start working with it and making it look the way that you want it to look. So this is a great way to showcase your findings and your insights that you create with the different data sets that we now have. And then if we wanted to create a new storyboard, this is going to... You can, yep, I'll show you that right now actually. If you create a new storyboard or an infographic, you can select your template, and then we're able to drag and drop the visualizations in here. Now to your point, if you wanted to give some filtering capabilities, those are called the input controls. So now as soon as I click input controls, it's going to give me all of our dimension options. So if I knew that you wanted to filter down on the year specifically, I can give you that control here so that when you're viewing this, either on your mobile device or on your own iteration of Lumira, you can then filter in by the year and all the visualizations will adjust.
And basically that was to get those
You can predefine it what purposes. Let's say it's going to use these two dimensions as filters, or as I'll show you a little bit later, you can actually make it predefine what you want to use.
Other questions so far? What do you guys think? Yeah? Okay. I'll just show you a couple other things that we created here just to give you an idea. So when you create your storyboard, there's a lot of options when it comes to the page settings. You can change the look and feel to fit whatever you'd like, change the background, change the color schemes, and things like that. So what I'd like to do now is hand it off to my colleague Mike, and Mike's going to show you some really neat ways that you can take this information and develop stuff on top of it to configure it that much more for your own submissions to the challenge. Okay?
Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you.
So, real quick, so thanks, Chelsea. So you've seen how some of our desktop tools for visualizing data can be used to create or even get some ideas on what some of this data is all about, join data together. We really want to, I suspect, take it to the next step, is wrap those, maybe create your own apps, etc. But still leveraging the same underlying visualization engine and something else, which Chelsea mentioned, which is our HANA platform. So HANA platform is the best way for you to think about it right now is there's an application stack that includes an in-memory database. So you can take all your data sets, import them into HANA. It also includes an application service, so you can write code to expose that data as RESTful services to your iOS client, or just a browser app. And we also have an HTML5 toolkit, which lets you just web standards based on top of jQuery, D3, etc. Those types of libraries.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
So the data is available via REST APIs.
Sorry, one more time.
The data is available via REST APIs, so I can go to if I create a dashboard, if I want to extract the data from my visual, I can use a REST API to extract the data in this.
Absolutely. JSON, Adam, absolutely. What was it? Yeah, so HTML5 toolkit, so cross-browser, production ready. SAP uses it in all of our production apps going forward, so it's real ready. So here's an example, one example that I wanted to show you. So again, this is built on top of Lumira. So as an end user, I get this dashboard potentially. Well, this could be, let's say for example, this is my idea of a submission. So all these charts here were created in Lumira. So all I'm doing here is just rendering them through the API into this web page. So when I click on configure, you see that same familiar editing control that Chelsea has showed you a minute ago. So you have full control. If I wanted to change this to a bar chart, you can do it now inside of your app. Simply hit save and there it is. So you can do things like move things around. Maybe I want that over there, maybe I don't. So again, just an idea of the types of applications that you can build on top of Lumira, but also using SAP HANA as a data source. Some of the other common scenarios you may want to do is search, right? So SAP HANA provides both semantic search and unstructured search, so you can do entity extraction, language processing, etc. So maybe I wanted to just real simple search on something I don't know. It's going to pull up every attribute that exists in this data source and all the values that match the word Miami, for example. So I can filter on that if I don't know what I'm looking for. Similarly, you can simply just select something on the chart, hit filter, etc. Excuse me. And on the left-hand side, you also have, going back to your point, you can expose as many filters as you want. So here they are on the left. I can look at how they stack up, maybe select, top 5, etc. So that's one example. Another example based on the data that was provided is sort of a cross-correlation between 911 data, citizens requests, public works data, etc. So you see this tree control on the left, again, using those same RESTful APIs. So let's say maybe I'm interested in all the violence in Boston. So if you look down here, it gives you the record count. So there's approximately, I'm looking at 3 million records. But as you saw, it took not even a second to bring that up. There's probably nowhere else you can do this and get that type of response. So let's zoom in. Again, everything is instantaneous. That looks kind of ridiculous, right? So let's maybe look at top 10% of all the violence cases. So we can use this slider, or we can use some of the other filters here on the left. Maybe I want to look at by land use or by geography, police district, etc. So I can click on on the cluster and get more details. Or maybe I wanted to look at violence and cases where it was a code violation of some sort. So I can find that intersection of data. Again, everything is instantaneous. So, any questions so far?
So what sort of map data can we use? Does it have to be like CSV files, or what sort of data sources can we use?
So, data source could be anything. It could be a CSV file. It could be a web service. Well, this data, there's some of the data is going to be geocoded, like as you see in the, some is not. So with Lumira and with HANA, you can actually generate the hierarchies, the geo hierarchies inside the tool. So if there is no that long data, you can geocode it on the fly from your CSV file. But the source data could be anything. CSV file, database. So at this point, it generated the lat long and just stores it in the column in memory. That's all.
But is that, like, is there a projection or something like that?
Yep. 4326, yep.
Question on the filtering. When you just did one filter where you did a manual select, and then you did a slider, do those filters, how do they all aggregate and live somewhere so you can see who created them?
In this demo or in the private? In this app or in this app? This one?
So you did a couple of different selects here. Where is the,
Oh, so look at the top left corner, right? So when I filter something, so let's say I want to look at these bars over here. Let me exclude them. Yep, so these are the filters that were applied. Right? And you can expand that and say, I want to change my mind.
So once you load the data, is it loading on the local desktop, or are you using the data to your servers?
Right, so it's a HANA service sitting in the cloud. Everybody who wants to spend this exercise can get access, just has to let us know. And we'll have access to the complete stack, so the database, the application services, the UI toolkit, so really everything you need to be successful.
What are some applications you have like that?
So these are some examples, but anything you can imagine you can build. So you have the HTML5 toolkit, you have the visualization libraries, you can expand them using DAV or something else. Standard web stuff. Yep. So, any other questions on this before we move on to the next one? Yep.
If you just wanted to add another dimension, like I'm assuming there are other data variables.
Here.
Yeah. In any one, in the last one.
So add another dimension. Yeah. So right now this is actually driven off of a metadata table that sort of reads other tables, but you can expose that through the UI, or you can make a change to the metadata table. It just depends on how you want to manifest it to the end user. So right now I'm an end user consuming this application. Right? So these are just the dimensions that I chose to make available. But so an example of an extension is something like this I did for a race team. Right? So this is actually going to be used in the pit during the race. Right? So the race started and the screen is getting cut off, but so this is a custom visualization you can extend. So you have a track with cars going across. You can hover or any car gets speed, etc. Or you can isolate. So if I'm the Penske team, we'll look at 12, 3, and 20. So those are going to be the only 3 cars on the track. There's more stuff on the right, but it's getting cut off, so small screen, sorry. So that's an example of visualization. Or if you wanted to change the track in real time. Okay.
There's also additional extensions out on GitHub for additional drafts and that.
Yeah, telemetrics, yep. So a couple of minutes I wanted to spend on this environment that we've set up especially for you. Essentially, so I've set the application stack. So you get a web ID, so you're gonna have to install any tools if you don't want to, as far as developing applications. So you'll get this page where you can actually get started, but essentially, when you log in, this is the web ID that we use. So you can create applications here. You can test them, debug them, all through the browser, deploy. So for example, on the left, this is my content repository, so you can create your own package, say new application, etc. Or you can use an Eclipse-based plugin that does the same thing, and everything is JavaScript, be it server-side or client-side. So for example, the mapping demo, you just use SQL to query the in-memory database, right? Passing parameters, and the JSON gets spit back out to the browser. So this is the type of stuff you can do. You can do it quickly, and you have some of the best of breed tools available to you. Any other questions? Oh, as part of the, so geospatial, also predictive, you have access to about 200 libraries that you can use to run predictive algorithms on top of the DLS provider as well. And keep in mind, it's all free for you. Awesome. Thank you.